Marina with Arkansas Amdream, and today I am in Pine Bluff, Arkansas on Main Street with Crystal from Who's Your Daddy?
Investigations.
Yes, you guys, look, we are right here on the Main Street, and please tell us, oh my goodness, about your business, and the name is so cool.
Who's Your Daddy Investigations is a private investigation company, and I specialize in genetic genealogy.
What?
And genetic genealogy is especially important for those with unknown parentage. We can take a person's own saliva and
What?
send it in and literally build a genetic family tree based solely on their own DNA. And we do that.
Listen, like, it's almost like, are you lying? Like, how is it possible? I mean, I'm sure it's possible. It's just like, okay, saliva can tell you what, like a genes, is that what it do?
Yes, your own DNA, your cheek cells carry your DNA, and with your own DNA.
Well, like, I mean, I know what DNA, but I wanna hear from a professional. Like, what is DNA?
We use what's called autosomal testing for DNA, and what it is it can tell you both sides of your family. It carries mother and father, so it's not sex gene specific. It carries both sides. So what we do is we send that to one of the DNA testing companies that has over 7 million already there.
Cool. 7 million.
Ancestry DNA. We use Ancestry DNA because with Ancestry DNA you have access to their family tree. So when you do normal genealogy, you go from you to your mom and dad to your grandparents.
What if I'm foreign? Like, can they look it up?
Oh, absolutely. So when I do
fascinating.
When I do genealogy, I go in reverse because most of the people that I help, I've reunited over 300 families absolutely for free because they were adoptees. I help adoptees especially.
You should be in like what's it called? The TV show. You know, don't they have a TV show?
They do, and I work with one of with Cece Moore. She's the specialist, and actually a lot of what my training came from her. So I have worked with her on cases multiple times. And so yes, I do the exact same thing, but I'm here local. I'm here in Pine Bluff. I'm one of only about 25 in the U.S. that have a combination of private investigator and genetic genealogy experience.
Like, I know I look clueless because I am. Like, this is like amazing. Okay, so, all right, you guys, if you have questions, ask us questions because this is a lot. Okay, all right, so you investigate, right? I mean, do you have to have like a investigation degree? Because you know they have the criminal justice department in colleges. Like, how do you do that?
I do have a criminal justice. I have a bachelor from UAM, so I have a general studies degree that focused in criminal justice and psychology. But I've also had private investigator training.
What?
I've had
girl. I'm afraid talking because you can just like figure me out. Like, it's okay. You can like really figure people out. Like, I need to be on my best behavior with you, so you don't tell nobody. We all have a past now.
Exactly, we all do.
Oh my goodness. All right, so you have a degree, and how did you decide to get into this field? This is like the most amazing field, like one of the most amazing fields I've ever heard of.
Well, I started genealogy when I was 8 years old with my grandmother.
Oh my God!
Right down here at the library.
Are you a psychic?
We would come.
Like, you should be like a psychic. You know, like mediums, they make like a lot of money too. Do you have that gift? Do you have a gift of medium?
No, I don't.
No, okay, all right. So 8 years old, that is early.
Yes.
Okay.
We would come down to the library, and I would start my work on my family tree. Well, at that time, I didn't know what I was going to do when I grew up. I just fell in love with genealogy and learning about my family's history.
Yeah.
And so, as I went through high school out at Dalloway, because I'm from here, and so I went to school at Dalloway, and I had two of the most awesome teachers. Bobby Lamb in the junior high had
had a specific class where we worked on our genealogy.
Yeah.
And then when I got into high school at Dalloway High, I had Bill Young. And Bill Young was very specifically, had a class for gifted and talented, and once a month we would go to the History Commission as a class.
Wait, like, where is History
The
Commission?
History Commission's in Little Rock.
Okay.
It's part of our Arkansas State Archives. And so that's where all of that is housed. So every month, that would be part of our class trip, would be to go there and learn, you know, how to research. So most of my genealogy experience I got before I ever graduated high school, thank goodness. And I'm thankful for those teachers.
Wow.
And then I was fortunate enough to be able to attend BYU during the summer and do
What's that?
Brigham Young University out in Utah. They have a family history program.
Oh my goodness.
And so as genetic genealogy came in, I continued to learn and continued to grow in genealogy. And
What you mean came in? Like, did it just come in? Like, it was
DNA, genetic genealogy, is a new field, basically.
Really?
It's only been around about 10 years, and in the last 5, it's really grown.
Yeah, because they do them commercials and that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. So it's a lot. Anybody can test at Ancestry. It's being able to understand those tests and your results, and being able to use those.
Okay.
And that's where my skills come. Literally, I've had people that have taken DNA tests that knew nothing about their families, and within an hour to 2 hours, I've been able to have them on the phone with parents. So,
No, like,
Yeah.
listen, like, for real?
yes, absolutely.
Gosh, what a story.
Yeah, I've had cases that I've solved in as little as 5 minutes, you know, up to cases it's taken me months.
So, okay, so I don't know how much you can tell me how that happens, but like, okay, so you have somebody's DNA,
You send it to Ancestry.
and then
When
you
they're- They'll email that person. That person invites me to their DNA results, basically. And so from when they invite me to their results, I then start my work, and I start in reverse. Ancestry has 7 million people tested there.
Okay.
So out of those 7 million people, personally, I have 2,500 cousins that have tested at Ancestry.
Oh my God.
So with
That's
my
a lot
own,
of cousins.
with my own results, I was able to determine that my grandfather's dad wasn't who he believed him to be. And I was able to communicate with a living uncle, a great uncle in California that we never knew existed. And I was able to fix my own error strictly because my grandfather's dad wasn't who he thought he was. But through
what you
DNA,
mean? Like, may I ask what you mean by who he thought he
well,
was?
it turns out that my grandfather was from Oklahoma. He was born in a little town called Osage, Oklahoma. And he always believed his dad was a man with the last name of Truman, which is my maiden name.
Okay.
So he grew up, he was in an orphanage for a while, and because his mother died when he was young, a lot of the kids were separated. Well, through DNA, we find out that Truman really wasn't his dad after all. His dad was a man that his 16-year-old mother got pregnant with in high school, and he left and moved off to California. My grandfather never knew this information, so he didn't know who his dad was.
Can this make a mistake? Like, I mean, I just can't imagine, like,
If
be
you've
so
had-
precise of who is who. It's fascinating.
If there's a mistake, it's from blood transfusions, or when you have stem cell transplants or something like that. If you have something like that, then yes, it can make a mistake. But in my case, I knew I'd never had that. So I knew when I had, and what we do is we match how many segments and how much DNA you share with that person. So it's based on levels. With your aunt or uncle, you're going to share almost the same amount of DNA you do with your half sibling.
Yeah.
So we know that, and we can look at ages and place them where they should be. And based on ages and ranks, we do a pretty good job. You have to think, every time your DNA splits this way, you know, it forks out. Well, when I'm building, I'm putting all that back together. So I'm finding your common ancestor, and then I'm coming forward from that.
How far do you go? Like it's just as far as it's available?
DNA usually is good for up to 5 generations.
Okay.
So we can accurately determine pretty well within that if your tree is correct. My tree, I have 30,000 people in my tree, but that's because I have almost all of Lincoln County in there because I did a personal project. So I have almost all of Lincoln County.
30,000 people in your family?
In my tree, yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of folks. What if you want to have a party? Like, hey, everybody come on in.
Yeah, I just keep adding because I love it. I call it my addiction. This is my...
You keep finding new people?
Yeah, I find new cousins all the time.
Yeah.
How fun is it to communicate with cousins all over the world? I love it.
It's amazing. So the question that I have is that, okay, so you take, what if you want to help find somebody, right? So it precisely will tell you who is...
It'll give you how much DNA, how many centimorgans of DNA you share with that person. And then I know how to interpret that and put it into relevance into your tree and see where it should fit and how that person fits. Whether it be a first cousin once removed or whether it's, you know, further out. That's where my expertise comes in.
We're trying to cross the road, but we can't because it's red line. We're trying to break the rules. So, you know, can you have this whole... We actually can turn around because we're almost done talking. So, how can you have this huge database? That's what I don't understand.
Ancestry has this huge database. And
but what if the person who you're looking for is not in their 7 million people tested?
You're not looking for that specific person. You're not looking for mom or dad to be tested usually.
Okay.
But mom or dad's niece or nephew may have been tested. So when you start putting all the pieces together, it's like a huge jigsaw puzzle. And I call it my scavenger hunt jigsaw puzzle all rolled into one. Because you're taking each of those pieces of people,
yeah,
and you're building them backwards to find out what piece of that person you match. So it's kind of like you gather all these parts and you put them together to make the whole you.
Why do you say backwards?
Because
backwards meaning you go back into history? Is that what you mean?
Meaning usually you go from you to mom to dad.
Okay.
I'm going backwards. I'm going from great-great-grandpa to grandpa. You see what I'm saying?
How can you,
backwards.
If you have my DNA, how can you find my great-grandpa first?
Because of the cousins that you share with that common grandparent.
How many cousins a person can have on average?
It just varies. You have to think think about 100 years ago there was no birth control, okay?
Okay.
So, for every person, we have thousands and thousands of cousins that we don't know. We share much DNA.
Is it, I know I'm going far, but is it amazing? I mean, is it possible I'm dating somebody and then they...
It's happened.
You know,
It's
my
happened.
cousin.
It's happened very... I've actually...
Ooh, I would not want to find that out.
I actually know of a couple that married, that they were both adopted. And they come and found out they were half siblings. And they did not know until after they had married. That was not an Arkansas case either. It was an Oklahoma case. But yes, I was a part of that. And we can also tell...
We want to pass on the train. Okay. All right, cool. You're safe. Okay.
And one of the things I want to stress is, not only can I find them, but I have a team team of experts in place to give support after. We have we have adoptees. Well, right, we have adoptees. We have people who were put into foster care, people who were separated from siblings, people who have just been through things you would not believe. And believe it or not, no matter how bad mom or dad was, they always still want to find them.
Sorry, you're having a little delay. Well, I want you to show me an example.
Okay.
Because call me silly, everybody, I'm still not fully get it. So I get the part of finding my people, I kind of get that.
Okay.
But I don't get the part where you, let's say, you're looking for a lost sibling.
Okay.
So for example, I come to you and I say, hey, I want to find mine.
Now that's a different skill. That's part of my private investigation work.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
right,
why.
right.
All right. We haven't talked about it.
And that's I'm able to combine the two together, and that's what makes me special.
Okay.
And it makes me unique, because not only can I tell you who they are, but then I'm a private investigator and can identify them and find their cell phone number and put you in contact with them as well. So
that's fascinating.
yes, and Arkansas is opening birth records for adoptees next year. And what that's going to do, or actually it's later on this year in July.
Okay.
So an adoptee is going to be able to go and get their original birth certificate, which will tell them who mom is.
Yeah, I heard about that.
It will tell them who mom is, but guess what? They won't know who your daddy is. So who's your daddy? With your own DNA, if we know who mom is, we can build mom's tree and easily identify that. And that's why
Like
who's your
how?
daddy is important.
Like how? I mean,
With your own DNA, you build mom's tree.
Yeah, but how mom's tree? It's
Mom's tree is half of your DNA.
Okay.
You carry half of mom's DNA, half of dad's DNA.
So the mom's DNA will...
You don't even need mom's DNA. You need mom's tree.
But then
Because
how? Like,
you
I don't
take-
understand how the mom's tree can connect to the dad's tree if it's only mom's tree. Like,
Mom's tree eliminates the cousins of mom. Mom's tree identifies which side those cousins match on. So say you don't know anything.
okay.
Well, if you have mom's tree, you've solved half, because you know half of your cousins. You know that side comes from that half. Well, that leaves the other half for me to build from and go back to and identify potential dad. And usually, if mom is still around and you're in contact with mom and she wasn't sure who dad was, and you give her a surname, she'll tell you who dad was. So
It's really still like, like I know you said the same thing 3 times, but I guess maybe if I could like see it for like, I still don't understand. If you're working on one person, how the other one that is totally not connected, you know?
because your DNA,
Yeah.
you're not just from mom, you're from dad too.
Yeah.
So to identify mom's ancestors and to identify all mom's great-grandparents, that identifies which side those cousins that you match at Ancestry are from. So the
those
other half,
cousins, that's what those cousins will match the dad.
right, the rest will match dad.
Oh,
So
wow.
you take and you
This is like a chemistry lesson or something. I'm so history lesson.
genetics, yeah, it's
Okay.
all about genetics.
All about genetics. So you have all the licenses, you have all
Yes.
the degrees. How can people find you?
Find me on Facebook at Who's Your Daddy Investigations, or call me at 501-200-0717. And you can email me. My email is crystals with an S, connections with an S at gmail.com.
Yeah, we'll put it all right there in the description. As you see, guys, this is complicated. Like, I'm so confused. You
And
need
that's
help?
what happens. Most people get overwhelmed.
Yeah,
they
I'm
hear
still
that
like,
this
what
is
if-
possible, and they try, oh, I could do this myself. Well, you can, but
This is years of experience right here, like since 8 years old.
Yes.
So
over 25 years in business of my genealogy business, and then this last year added private investigations to it.
Very complicated field. But if you need help to find somebody or find your ancestry, so another thing that I'll ask before we ask the last question about shopping local, you can also see like on the commercials they say what you need to eat, like your health. Do you do
absolutely.
that?
We can take, after you tested ancestry,
Okay.
one of the things that you can do is take that raw DNA report that they'll send you. It's just called your raw data
Okay.
that Ancestry gives you based on your DNA.
Okay.
You can take that report and upload it for $10 to a place called Prometheus. And with that medical report for $10, I'll tell you about mine. I'll tell you a personal story about mine. My mom committed suicide when I was 16.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And she was on a lot of antidepressants at the time.
Okay.
So I did my DNA and I did my report. The very first thing at the very top of the report was
Oh my goodness.
and so that answered questions
oh,
for
those
me.
are my cards. Let's not flew away.
So that answers my question as to
Yeah, go ahead. We're just picking up cards.
genetics and how it affects us. Because had my mom known that she shouldn't take those medicines, she wouldn't have taken them. And that's just like me. I won't take them because now I know. Now we have the ability to say you shouldn't take this. And
So you can say what medicine not to say.
the Prometheus report will tell you that.
What else? Like, would it tell me what I'm
will tell
allergic to? Or
It will tell you. I have 8 genetic markers for obesity.
okay.
So it'll tell you obesity markers. It'll tell you cancer markers. It'll tell you things that are known to be passed along those genetic markers you carry.
That's a help.
It's a 300-page report for $10.
Does it
And-
say anything that you need to? I'm passionate about the food. That's why I'm asking. Does it say anything about what you need to eat or don't need to eat?
I think it can tell you that. I didn't focus on that, so I'm really not sure.
You more focus on the health.
I
Okay.
focus on meds because
Okay.
with that, knowing that, it's important to me that we check before we just dispense stuff that.
Yeah, because doctors they don't know you as much as genealogy report may know
Right,
you.
your genetics. And I do know that there are a few doctors now that are actually looking at these reports and taking the time to meet and look at them. I actually met one this week that wants to review that, to bring it into her office. So
Wow.
I think it's important, that we know our genetics no matter what.
That's fascinating. Well, you guys, I know this video is long today because this subject is so complicated and so interesting. Well, tell us, why do you think it's important to shop local and you use and don't use like a online website? Like, what makes you different from if they go directly to the website?
Well, Ancestry doesn't offer my services, essentially. They offer the testing, they offer the ability to build these trees, but they don't offer the private investigation, the ability to put it all together. They don't do that for you. Ancestry's $2,500 if you were to hire one of their professionals just to build your trees.
Oh, wow.
I look at your DNA. I give you 5 hours of my consultation services for $250 for initial consultation. Much cheaper than you can get at Ancestry. And in that 5 hours, I've been known to solve cases, reunite siblings, and change lives.
Yes, so many success stories. Like, it's like you own a happy business.
Yeah,
Happy ending business.
I try to make them all happy. They're not all happy, I must say. They're not all happy. But I do try to make them that way. And I'm there for support in the end if they have an issue. So.
Oh, well, wow. One word after this video, wow. I'm blown away by what you do. Now I'm great. I was so looking forward to this video. I knew it was gonna be amazing. I wish you best of luck.
Thank you so much.
And I thank you for choosing this field because it's such a unique field that changes lives, as you said.
It does. It changes lives every day.
Yeah, I thank you. I wish you best of luck. I hope you guys gonna contact Crystal. We're gonna get all, put all the information in the description, and we thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Marina.
All right, guys, please share this video. Bye.